Good morning, agents, and welcome to another daily episode of Targeted Loot Today, your daily farming guide for Tuesday, January 5th. In this series, we cover a lot. We got the Targeted Loot map, Dark Zone exclusives, highlights for the weekly vendor resets, which just reset today, and of course, build and farming suggestions as well. I'm Shadow Gaming, and if you enjoy this video, consider pressing the thumbs up, and of course, subscribe buttons below. And remember to comment below as well if you have any questions whatsoever. Otherwise, let's get this video started. Alright guys, so starting off in the Dark Zones and of course vendor reset highlights, which are in the big bottom left overlay that pops up right now. And remember, this just reset today. So what I would recommend is definitely in DZ East, we got a Claws Out holster with 500% melee damage and then a 10% pistol damage for anyone that's using a shield build. And then of course over in DZ South we got the RAILSPLITTer, which you definitely want to pick up. It has perfect accurate. It's a great collectible even if you're not going to use it. So definitely grab that for 152 DZ resources. Otherwise, for regular targeted loot, we got Dark Zone West gloves. So you could farm for the BTSU gloves, which grants overcharge, of course. If you want to get that exotic, you can farm here. Otherwise, there is an exclusive gloves for the Dark Zone. It's 511 tactical. They're called the Death Grips. They're probably my absolute favorite gloves in the game. They come with 10% armor on kill, and it's on my favorite DPS hybrid Hunter's Fury build. I highly recommend picking these things up. And then of course over in DZ South we got Sokolov. There's no Dark Zone exclusive to farm for there, so I'll move on over to the DZ East. Now for marksman rifles, there is the Pinprick, which I believe has perfect first blood on it. You can farm for that, although I don't know if I'd really recommend farming for it. Otherwise, you can try to farm for the Mantis and the Nemesis. Those are the two exotic MMRs in this game. But remember, you need the blueprint from Puck's blueprint to get the Nemesis to drop first. Otherwise, let's go check out now what we got in the north side. Alright, agents, starting off in the north side, Targeted Loot highlights with the invaded missions this week. We got Camp White Oak, and then of course, Jefferson Trade Center, American History Museum, District Union Arena, and then Tidal Basin. Now at Camp White Oak today, we got Foundry Bulwark, definitely worth farming for any tank build, but remember the chest and backpack are Iron Horse raid exclusives, so keep that in mind when you're farming for it. Next up, we got submachine guns at Coney Island Ballpark, 3 exotics, Lady Death, Chatterbox, and Backfire. I think all 3 are worth farming for, but if you're going to be using that Backfire, you're going to have to use hazard protection for sure. Otherwise, the Dark Winter and the Apartment aren't Dark Zone exclusives, so in lieu of that, there's several ways you can get it that are in the bottom left overlay, but really they're unreliable ways of farming for it. What I would do is farm for the named ones in the LZ that drop, like the Safety Distance with Perfect Outsider, and then of course the Grudge with Perfect Vindictive. Both of those are definitely worth farming for until SMGs, Targeted Loot in the Dark Zones for the Dark Winter and all that good stuff. And then next up we got Douglas and Harding at the amusement park. You can farm for the Punch Stroke Mask with 20% headshot damage baked into it. Perfect for an all high-end headshot damage build. And then lastly we got light machine guns at Manning National Zoo. So you got 2 exotics, Bullet King and Pestilence. With the Bullet King you never have to reload, and then of course with the Pestilence you can get that damage tick to over 1,000,000 per tick. It's definitely worth it for a lot of different builds. And then of course in the bottom left overlay there's like 4 or 5 named LMGs that you can pick up in this game. The Black Friday is a Dark Zone exclusive, the rest is in the LZ. And then of course Kinley College is closed. In the summit you pick your own Targeted Loot, so let's go check out now what we got on the west side. Alright agents, west side Targeted Loot highlights, starting off with Hunter's Fury at Lincoln Memorial, which is gear sets. Now definitely worth it checking out that Death Grips build that I showed you guys earlier in the top right card now. Now it's 4 pieces of Hunter's Fury, the Death Grip gloves, and the Memento backpack, running the Dark Winter and the Scorpio shotgun. And actually it's the perfect day to get Hunter's Fury, especially if you want an armor roll as your main core, and then the crit chance or crit damage is your second. Because at Lincoln Memorial you could just clear this solo heroic with some directives on in 8 or 9 minutes. And then of course we got Strikers at Roosevelt Island. I always recommend just 3 pieces to handle the merciless rate of fire and everything. Otherwise I never recommend going any more than 3 pieces for Strikers. And then next up we got Aces and 8s over here at DCD HQ. So of course great headshot damage gear set. You want to mix 3 pieces of Aces and 8s. 2 pieces of Geraldo Holding, 1 being a backpack with Vigilance or Composure, and the Chain Killer chest piece with Perfect Headhunter, and run that with the Mantis. I'm going to skip Tip of the Spear. Rigor is great for instant cooldowns and your deployable skills or changing targets with your turret and drone, so definitely pick that up for sure. And the chest and backpack are not raid exclusive whatsoever. And then a Close Protocol at Downtown West, last gear set over here. Now my favorite fire damage builds will be in the top right card now. That's going to be 4 pieces of Eclipse Protocol, the Imperial Dynasty holster, and 1 piece of Golan gear. You can use the Vial Mask instead of the Imperial Dynasty holster, but if you do, I'd recommend swapping to the Demolitionist spec to increase the debuff damage on your Vile Mask. Otherwise, for normal targeted loot, we'll start off with holsters at West End. You got 3 exotics, the Waveform, which you could first get from season level 90, and then of course the other 2 would be Dodge City for DPS builds, and then the Imperial Dynasty for skill damage and status effects. You can also farm for the Forge holster, which gives you 50% shield health, which is equivalent to a whole extra skill tier worth of shield health. Next up, we got Overlord over at the White House. If you want to farm for that Fox Spear knee pad with 8% damage targets out of cover, I think every agent should have at least 1 or 2 pairs of these, rolled with crit hit chance, and crit hit damage is the 3rd slot. Next up, we got knee pads at Constitutional Hall. You got 2 exotics, so that would be the Sawyer's knee pads and Ninja Bike Messenger knee pads. Ninja Bike being for, run and gun builds, like an SMG run and gun build. And then, of course, you got the Sawyer's for more for like sitting still, like a sniper build. And then we got Petrov over here at Potomac Event Center. If you want to farm the Contractor's Gloves with 8% damage to armor, always worked out in any LMG build. Or if you're stacking damage to armor, like with the Lady Death, Assault Rifles, or, a couple pieces of Walker Harrison Co. You can also farm Foggy Bottom today for your God Rolled mods. If you want to throw this on Heroic with some directives, you might have a better chance of getting some God Rolled mods to drop right here. The last few I'll mention is Golan Gear at West Potomac Park. You can farm for the Anarchist Cookbook with Perfect Wicked, which goes great on that 4-piece ongoing directive build, and the Ridgeway's Pride. And then last but not least, we got shotguns at the Pentagon. So remember, you got the Scorpio and the Sweet Dreams. Those are the 2 exotic shotguns in this game. Scorpio has Septic Shock, gets rewarded at season level 55, and the Sweet Dreams has the Sandman talent. You can melee one-hit kill any red or purple barred enemy every 15 seconds or so. And then the 4 best shotguns in this game would be the Rock and Roll Shotgun with Perfectly Extra, the Mop with 10% armor on kill, the Custom MA70, and the Marine Super 90, but the Rock and Roll Shotgun is a Dark Zone exclusive, and I would roll close and personal on all of those except for the Rock and Roll. Alright agents, now let's go check out what we got on the east side. Alright, Agents East Side targeted loot highlights, starting off with Hardwired at Capitol Building Stronghold. I do not recommend really getting this anymore. What I would recommend is 3 pieces of Empress, 2 Hana-Yu, Waveform holster with kinetic momentum on your chest piece, and the Force Multiplier backpack with perfect combined arms running the capacitor. That's my new skill damage build. That'll be in the top right card now. And of course, that's what I was going to mention over here for Empress at District Union Arena, but I'll mention how skill efficiency works. Remember, that 3rd piece gives you 10% skill efficiency, which is the best type of skill, any attribute you can get in this game, because it gives you 10% skill health, skill damage, skill haste, skill duration, repair, status effects, all that good stuff. And then next up, we got Badger Tough over here at Jefferson Trade Center. You can farm the 0F's chest piece with Perfect Unbreakable. Always worth getting for any DPS hybrid build if you want more survivability on your chest piece and more damage on your backpack. And then, of course, Walker Harrison Co. at Viewpoint Museum. You can farm that Chain Killer chest piece with Perfect Headhunter on it. Almost mandatory for any headshot damage build, whether you're on console or PC. But remember that the Matador with Perfect Adrenaline Rush is a Dark Zone exclusive, very similar to the Dark Winter. There's all these niche ways of getting it, but really farming backpack targeted loot or Walker Harrison Co. targeted loot in the DZ is the really main way to get it. Next up, assault rifles over here at the East Mall area. Great place to farm for the 2 exotic assault rifles besides the Eagle Bearer, and that's the Chameleon with Adaptive Instincts and the Capacitor with Capacitance. But remember, you need to complete 5 summit challenges to get rewarded at first before it joins the general targeted loot pool. Otherwise, the bottom left overlay will show the main, named ARs. I recommend the Mechanical Animal Future Perfection and the Burnout named FAMAS and the new test subject with Perfectly in Sync for sure. And then we got Providence Defense at Air and Space Museum. If you want to farm the Sacrifice of Perfect Glass Cannon, amplifying all damage you deal by 30%, but all incoming damage you get by 60%. It goes great on any DPS or skill damage build. And last but not least, we got rifles at Southwest, 2 exotics, Merciless and Diamondback, both of which I don't really recommend, but the Merciless isn't too bad with 3-piece strikers, and the Diamondback hits pretty hard in PvE and PvP, but it's only got 5 shots in its magazine clip. Otherwise, you could farm for the Surge with Perfect Spike and the Baker's Dozen with Perfect Lucky Shot. Those are 2 named rifles that drop in the Light Zone. The Harmony with Perfect in Sync does not drop in the Light Zone. You have to wait for it to be targeted loot rifles in the Dark Zone. And that just about wraps it up for the east side. Let's go check out now what we got in New York City last. Alright, Agents, New York City, targeted loot highlights last. Starting off with the gear sets, we got Ongoing Directive at Stranded Tanker. Remember those 2 Ongoing Directive builds I always mentioned. First off, Ridgeway's Pride, 4 pieces of Ongoing Directive, and then of course the Anarchist Cookbook with Perfect Wicked backpack. That one's going to go great with the Scorpio shotgun, and so is this next one. which is 4 pieces of ongoing directive, a Badger's Tough backpack with creeping death, and the Vile Mask. Remember, run the Scorpio with both of those for sure. And then the last 2 we got is Future Initiative at 2 Bridges. Chest and backpack are raid exclusive to the Iron Horse raid, so remember that when you're farming for it. But it is an amazing healer gear set, so in lieu of those raid exclusive chest and backpack items, I would put an Alp Summit chest piece with Empathetic Resolve and a backpack with Safeguard for sure for a healer build. And then of course we got Negotiator's Dilemma at Pathway Park. I'll put my double LMG build in the top right card now, which is 4 pieces of Negotiator's Dilemma, the Coyote's Mask, and then you could run a piece of Grupo Sombro gloves for an extra 15% crit hit damage, or you could run the Contractor's gloves for that 8% damage to armor and 10% LMG damage as well. I always roll that with the Pestilence and Bullet King as well. For normal targeted loot, we got backpacks at Civic Center. You could farm the Memento and the Acosta's Go Bag. Those are the 2 exotics in this game. The Memento probably being the best. I think that's probably the best exotic gear piece in this entire game. They handled it with that backpack piece. And then of course masks at Financial District. You got Coyote's Mask and of course Vile Mask. Those are the 2 exotic masks you can get in this game. Coyote being for DPS and the Vile Mask being for status effects and skill damage. And then Bellstone Armory over here at Liberty Island. You can farm the Everyday Carrier with Perfect Efficient on it. That's a chest piece. But just remember though that the Liquid Engineer with Perfect Bloodsucker backpack is a Dark Zone exclusive. So keep that in mind. You can only get that Everyday Carrier in the Light Zone. And lastly, Murakami over here for that 10% skill duration. Always worth running on your turret and drone build in my opinion instead of skill haste so much. And then chest pieces at Wall Street. You got 2 exotics, Ridgeway's Pride and the Tardigrade. The Tardigrade you could just straight up farm for. The Ridgeway's Pride, you're going to need to have a teammate drop it for you, or if you have it already, you can refarm it chest piece targeted loot. Otherwise, you're going to have to complete the project that you get from the summit. Alright agents, well that was the targeted loot for today. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe, like, and share if you enjoyed my content. It really helps me out. It lets you guys know whenever I got a video in the feed. And of course I work really hard on these videos every morning, so I always appreciate everyone that's watching right now to the very end. Thank you so much. Otherwise, everything will be in the video description and pinned comment below, like Shadow Gaming merchandise. My new logo will be coming out on everything pretty soon. Otherwise guys, take care agents, and be sure to stay tuned for more daily Division 2 content. This is Shadow Gaming signing off. I will see you in the next video. Take care agents.